So men's mental health awareness. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome to the Swaney Queen Show, where we talk about fatherhood and the powerful influence of black fathers in sports and
What'd you say?
Says y'all mics on?
show on WOLB 1010
Yes.
a.m.
All right.
All right, all right. Good morning, folks. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's the Swaney Queen Show. Welcome. November 12th. We're here, 10:10 a.m. WOLBbaltimore.com. It's the Swaney Queen Show. Coming back to you again for another segment. Good morning, man.
Morning.
Wanted to just make sure that we get you back in the house. We missed you last week, man, but you're back in. How was the last week?
Last week was good. Last week was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I'd say I had a lot of fun going to school, coming back from school. Started up club soccer, so
Nice.
things are going well.
Cool. Well, let's get this the show started, man. You want to give a rundown of where they can find us, where our contacts are?
No, yeah, you can definitely find us on 1010 WLB Baltimore.com. You can also see us on 1010 AM radio. You can also find us live on 410.Swaney_, and you can also see us afterwards whenever you want, wherever you want, on YouTube at the Swaney Queen Show.
There we go. So welcome, everybody. Just want to give a special thanks to all our sponsors, Maryland Premier Tag and Title. We thank you, Queens Quality Painting. Thank you for staying in there with us. Also, Denmark Vintage Brand. Thank you for the wearables, and also GYSRF. Get you some Rich Friends clothing brand. Make sure you guys check them out. We thank you for all our supporters. So another weekend, guys. We thank you for all the listeners that have been tuning in. Again, the phone lines will be open all segment, 410-481-1010, 410-481-1010. Please feel free to give a call in, give a comment. Let us know how you like the show, what's going on, or what your concern, or excuse me, what your question or comment would be. This week's way, I know we kind of talk about a lot of different things. I got to kind of bipart suggestion of what we want to discuss today. Things I saw this week, I thought they were pretty cool. I'm on IG very little, right? I'm not a big social media guy. I'm not, I don't come from that cloth, but I'm learning. And as I was checking it out, I thought I saw something cool. And if you guys have followed Kevin Hart on IG, he's got his page, and on his page, one of the post that he posted with two of his kids. Now, both his kids are from different wives or different marriages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not, his oldest son is, of course, not from the marriage he has now, but he had a post. He's a Philadelphia Eagle fan, so he put on all the jerseys for all the guys. Reggie White was represented on the jersey, right? That's old Eagle, Hall of Famer. And long story short, they did a TikTok based off of that, but I thought it was just so cool, the interaction between father and son. This is our program, right? We're talking about the, fatherhood and the influences of fatherhood in sports and entertainment and life. And I thought it was so great to see the inclusion that he brought with his kids. You know what I'm saying? One, the inclusion of being from separate, they're all both his sons, but being from separate mom or separate households, separate moms, right?
Yeah.
Just the inclusion of that, and then the inclusion of them in his life, in his career. I'm sure right now it's probably got over like 1.1 or 1.2 million views.
Yeah.
But just that exposure for them to have that type of fun, and it's with their dad. I thought that was cool. So I wanted to make sure we talked about that. In the midst of co-parenting, he does a very good job. So shout out to Kevin Hart for that post. I thought it was just a great image in what we need today for fathers and examples of what fathers, how to still have fun with your kids. You know what I'm saying? One other post I saw, you may have checked it out. One of the Baltimore natives, Carmelo Anthony. You know, he's in a situation kind of similar to you, where he's a dad going through the process of getting his son to the next level, going from high school to college, and they're going through their showcases and going through their shadows right now, different schools. And I saw a post when he was up at Syracuse, which is Carmelo's alma mater, and he was also there with Lala. Now, him and Lala aren't together, but one of the posts that Lala put out there was the fact that this shopping of school is selecting for the next level it's a family thing, you know what I'm saying? And I thought that was powerful. Just again, in the midst of co-parenting, you know, you keep the main thing, right? Yeah. Which is your son or your daughter or your child. And I thought that was just so powerful. Again, exposure at the right level. They're going to Syracuse, his alma mater. I think it would be so appropriate and such a beautiful story to see that happen. You know what I'm saying? If he went there. So shouts out to Carmelo and Lala for really kind of keeping it together in the midst. So I just think those things are powerful. I guess it's relative to me because you and I have a similar situation, because through what we do, you know, your mom and I aren't together, and we co-parent, I think, extremely well.
You do.
You know what I'm saying? I think that we understand our differences. At the same token, we understand what the main thing is.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to, you know, give that attention or give it its due attention. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it simple for us. I think we handle it pretty well. So I'm always recognizing little things like that when I see it, like, wow, you know, that I can recognize, I can relate to that, you know?
No, yeah. Yeah, the co-parenting thing is definitely like one of like probably the biggest thing that people don't talk about. Like even when you guys had came to like my events in some aspect, a lot of people always suspected that both of you were together at the time.
Right.
Well, that's only because you guys don't, you know, make a scene or anything when I'm out, or at all, really. Right. And so I feel like co-parenting is such a strong thing, even while people are still in relationships, even people are still married, like being there for the child and coming together for the kid is definitely the biggest. That's the whole goal.
Yep.
That's the whole aspect. That's the whole reason of co-parenting. You know. Yeah,
I do. I agree. I think it's you know, it's funny. This month you described it. This month, November, is there's a special month. What is it?
Men's mental health awareness.
Men's mental health awareness in the month of November. So part of mental health is like having less stress.
Yeah.
Right. And I know a lot of times in co-parenting and really period in life, really, I guess we go through periods of where things can offer unnecessary stress for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I always like to try to, you know, recognize that. My whole mission was to be stress-free, you know, even in the midst of, you know, separation or going through what we were going through. And I said, you know what, as long as I focus my efforts on you, how can she be mad?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or how can I, and then if she's not mad, then I don't really have too much stress, right? It's a counter or a domino effect a lot of times. And so that's how I thought. And that's what I focused on. And, you know, so it seems to have worked for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel too much stress whatsoever. A lot of times I also ask people, you know, how do you handle stress? And you know, people handle it in various ways. For myself, what I found is the best remedy on most of these things is just start with prayer. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of times say, I'll just give it to God. That's how you give it to God, right? It's how you communicate with him. It's important. I keep him first in my life, and through everything, good, bad, and ugly, I have to be able to pray about it. I have to be able to give it totally to him, and so that I do feel free at that point, because everything that happens is supposed to happen. You know, and I've had a conversation with God about it, and you know, and it allows me to be able to move as what I deem appropriate. You know?
Yeah.
So you know, in this time of mental health awareness, I think it's just important that people also recognize the, you know, how to start or how to begin, you know, communication with somebody, right? And if you don't have any communication, like I suggest God. I suggest prayer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you'll find that the reward is quite great. You know, how do you handle it?
Mental health for me, and like for like my generation aspect, like people undermined it because I think the aspect is like, as a man you're supposed to be strong and like this big role model and big influence and like the man of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like being the man of everything isn't as it seems. Like men still have feelings at the end of the day. Men still go through the same struggles as other people do.
Sure.
And I feel as though mental health is so undermined nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like people don't check up on people as well as they should, and even when they do and someone says like, hey, like, are you okay? It's like, yeah, but obviously you see something wrong, you don't want to step out of your way because like, hey, he's a man, he's got it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's where people get mixed up at, because me being who I am, and like and it even goes for like ages too, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like me being where I am, who I am. It's like, oh, why do you have stress? Of course I have stress.
What do you mean, like what do you mean, like, because of the fact that, oh, you're a kid, you have no worries, you don't have
Yeah,
no
exactly.
bills,
That's
no nothing
it.
like that. How in the world do you have stress?
Yes, and that's a lot of people's like perspectives. Like, oh, why do you have stress? You're pretty much handed everything. You got a roof over your head. You have this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Now what's going to happen after that? How am I going to get to the point that I want to be at after that? You know?
Yeah.
Like moving forward, so I can do my own bills, so I can do this and that. I have to build up. There's like Lego pieces. I have to build up to get to that point. And once I get to that point, then I'll feel more relieved. Then I feel good.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, it's like, will I?
Right.
You gotta think about it. Like,
right.
stress is always going to be like a factor. It just matters like how you deal with it. Some people cope with it in a good way. Some people cope with it in a bad way.
Right.
Bad way being substances that don't need to be used.
Sure.
And then a good way is coming together with the people around you that truly care about you. Mental health is such a big aspect in today's day and age.
Yep.
Because there's so many bad things that's been happening.
Sure.
Like
many other vices people use to cope.
Like I feel like for someone that's going through something, you should always have their back, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's why I feel like there should be so much good in the world rather than evil.
Right.
Because you never know what someone's going through, ever.
Right.
Like, whether it's a stranger, whether it's one little thing, you can change someone's mind. And every day, you know, I think about the one time that we were on the way to a tournament. We were in the McDonald's, and there was a lady that...
You remember that?
Like,
oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, like
every day.
Yeah. That's crazy.
There was a lady that said to us, hey, you have such a great son, and you are going to do such great things in life. A random lady, never met her.
Yep, didn't know from Adam. She just walked up, didn't she?
Yeah, I don't even know why. And like ever since then, that resonated with me. And since that resonated with me, I've always tried to be nothing but positive to anybody, any stranger.
Right, because you don't know what you can do in order to turn that person around. What that did for us that day, it was just, I think we had a conversation. We were driving back from the tournament, right?
No, we were heading to the tournament.
Headed to the tournament.
And then that happened, and then we both had just like burst out into tears. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That hit home for some reason. Like, it was just random.
Yeah, that was a powerful, man. I look at that, you know, again, it's God sent, because I look at, I think I said it during that time. I think, you know, God sends angels all the time, you know, and in different ways, different formats. And I was like, for someone to not know us from Adam, and I mean, we weren't in the, you know, the local area, you know, this was a very, very rural area.
Yeah.
And it was so random that this one lady, who was an old elderly lady, that just came up and had a specific conversation, and was just like, you know what, God's telling me to tell you that specifically that you are doing a great job and you have a great son and whatever, you know, the whole nine. And I just, when we sat back and talked about it, couldn't do anything but tear up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, men cry at the littlest things, but that was a big thing for us, man. So it was huge. That's amazing that you remember that. I guess that was significant, wasn't it?
No, yeah, that was definitely a big significant part. And like, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like the littlest things
Yeah.
can make such a big impact. And now the way that I go about life, the way that I go about things, I don't like to be negative.
Nope.
Like I feel like negativity just causes more negativity, which causes hate around the world. And I just want the world to be a better place at the end of the day.
That's
Like,
right.
It's just like to be positive is so much easier, anyways.
Takes
just
no
be
effort,
like,
really.
They just be like, hey, like you dropped this. Like, hey, how have you been? Like, oh, you're okay. There's no reason to argue in any aspect.
Right. I love it. I love the mentality, guys. We're here talking about men's mental health. It's Mental Health Month, or Men's Mental Health Month in November this month. We're just talking about different stresses, how remedies, and what we can do in order to ease the mind, right? Get better health and mental health. Stay with us. It's 410-481-1010. Please give a call in. We're open the entire session for calls. Want to make sure that we get to all our listeners. Again, it's WLBBaltimore.com. It's the SWAYNEE Queen Show. You're listening in, and you got a lot of good points, man. I love hearing you talk a little bit more about those things. One, because you sound passionate about it, and it's good to see that in youth today, right?
Yeah.
Just because I don't know how many young folks are really kind of thinking about that. When I look at sports and how many people, whether it be football, soccer, there's a lot of challenges with mental health right now after,
Oh no, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? People have exhausted their time frame, within the job or within the sport, and so much so that they've created a name in most cases for it, CTE and things of that sort. That people have to be aware of, just as it deals with damage. I'm saying, to the brain. But
Yeah.
I just think the health of mentally can be caused by a lot of different things. I mean, just imagine the type of stress that maybe an athlete may go through being traded, or not getting drafted,
or having to I'm about to say the undrafted progress, and steps to get to where you want to be. I feel like that's so draining, and even from a soccer standpoint, to be on a club, to make for overseas, to be on a club, be on a academy, get cut from the academy.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get cut from the academy, then it's what? Because that's your whole life. Over there, if you're playing soccer, that's more so your whole life.
Sure.
So there's been so many kids that took their own lives due to them being cut and not being where they need to be, and it shows because they don't have a second option. That's option number one, and then
it's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing at that point.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah.
Because mental health needs to be looked at more than other aspects, because especially for children.
Yeah.
Because you never know what a kid's going through, but
parenting at home,
exactly.
different things, what we talked about, just co-parenting. Not everybody's gone through a positive co-parenting experience.
Yeah.
Their parents, their kids are raised up in a total family household and still aren't going through. Are going through major mental changes or what have you. It's not, it's not always peaches and cream. What I'm saying? So, no, I can understand that. And you never know what somebody's going through. I didn't know that. Well, I guess you're right. The uptake of suicides is going to increase with the increase of mental health percentages kind of getting higher.
Yeah.
Kids.
Look, us as kids, we get it. We're thankful for what we have, and we know what we have.
Yeah.
But it's also a stressful thing when it comes to what's the next step, and you guys are pointing us towards the right paths and the right things, and then
sure.
we're trying to get to where we need to be.
Yep.
But then that's also a stressful process.
Yeah.
Whether it's college and what we're going to do in college, what we're going to do after college, our generation as of right now really is picking things back up to where they need to be, because we went through COVID, went through online school, went through a big lazy process, depending on how you took it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel most parents do, most parents check up on their kids, no doubt. Now, 9 times out of 10, the kids are definitely going to tell a fib, be like, hey, I'm fine.
Right.
But, because, sometimes we like to deal with it on our own. Because sometimes we want to be left alone.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean, if we're saying we're fine, that doesn't always mean, hey, stay away. That means, I'm trying to deal with something, let me do it on my own.
Yep.
And then, hey, if you need anything, let me know. If you want anything, let me know. Keep up.
I think that's the reason why I choose to stay so close to you in this process of, when I say stay close to you, I'm talking about just be a part, keep asking questions. If there's something wrong, you checking with you. Are you all right?
Yeah.
How's school going? What's the process like? What are your thoughts on it? I constantly ask those questions because I want to be able to share some of what may be stressing you in that process. One, because I've gone through it before and I can relate to some of the stresses. I get that.
Yeah.
But to know that everything will be okay and to give that reassurance that don't worry about turning your page or don't worry about the next chapter because I'm still going to be here with you.
Yeah, and that's what some kids don't realize, and that's what some kids don't get though, the reassurance.
Yeah, the reassurance.
And that also comes from co-parenting, because some people aren't blessed with two parents.
Yeah.
Some people aren't blessed to go most of their life up to the age of 18 with two parents.
Yeah.
And some people deal with it in different ways. That's why me as my friend, because I have friends like this, me as a friend, I always make sure that my friends are good. I always make sure that the people around me are good.
Yeah.
Whether we're close, whether we haven't talked in XYZ, X amount of time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. As long as you're okay, and I know you're okay, and I know that I did what I could to make sure that you are okay.
You did the checkup. You did what was necessary.
Yeah, that boosts my mental health. Make sure that you're okay, and I feel so that's for a lot of people though.
I like it.
Yeah,
that makes me okay, making sure that you're okay. Yeah, that makes sense. For me, it's funny because, again, like I said, I started off as for me, I do a lot of prayer, so it's helpful through those processes. I try to, I pray for guidance, I pray for wisdom, I pray for understanding. And then for me, it just becomes almost carefree. It's I'm good. My decision making will be what it is in the moment that I need to make it. And right now, as long as I keep, again, the main thing, and keep my focus on him, meaning you and my, and the Lord, it's how can I go wrong?
Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? So my decisions sometimes, could be sporadic. They could be last minute, but that's how for me, that's in my life. That's how I've flowed. So it's just you know what? I'm here. I've got breath. You know what I'm saying? I've got a clean mind, a good mind, so I can make a decision. You know what I'm saying? And it works. And I guess it's ultimate faith in the fact that everything's going to be okay, no matter what the next page is, no matter what the next chapter is. From my, I share those things with you so that you have an insight as to, from a child to an adult, what we may go through.
Yeah.
In the next page. You know what I'm saying? Kind of I can see right there what my father's going through in the next page, because, and what can happen if I take that route, or what's going to happen if I go this route, so that you have a blueprint and aren't as hesitant with making that move in that direction.
No, yeah. And I get that from both of y'all, you and my mother. My mother doing what she's doing, you doing what you doing, and I'm coming in the middle, taking pieces from both sides, and then taking it along as I get older.
Right.
As I move into the next stage.
Sure. Seeing
what both of y'all are doing, taking what I want, leaving what I don't want,
Yep.
And it's all been positive and has boosted me up to where I need to be. If it weren't for y'all and doing what y'all doing, I feel like I'd be in a different aspect and different path. Not terrible, but let me think. Yeah, probably just in a whole different
just
mindset.
Not as focused or not as streamlined focus as you are now.
Yeah, I'm so we use this term a lot in school. We use this term in class, all the teachers use it. I'm so locked in.
Okay.
When it comes to schoolwork and getting what I need to get done. Once I get it done, then I have the free time that I need for later on. juggling club sports, AP classes, a job, constantly doing like what I need to do
Sure.
to make sure that I'm at a place that I want to be.
Right.
Using my money instead of y'all's, getting to where I need to be when it comes to a soccer standpoint. Whether I go to college for soccer or whether I go to college mainly based off academics.
Right.
And then the combination of both. It feels good and it feels great to have both of y'all by my side all along the way.
Right.
And that's what helps my mental health. Like a man's mental health I feel like needs to be looked at more than as it should. And don't get me wrong, mental health in general should be looked at very adamantly. But in the reality, the world kind of just goes along thinking about themselves. But I want for the listeners, I want you guys to take a minute, to take a second, to look around, see who's around, and see if things have changed in someone's mood, someone's actions or anything, and ask are you okay, and if you need something.
That's awesome.
Because you never know what someone may need or may want to hear.
You're right. It's great points, man. From the brilliance of Sway Jr. That's awesome, man. Now we're talking about mental health here on the SWAYNEE Queen Show. Just positivity, man. Just sending good vibes out there. No stress, folks. That's what we're talking about. No stress, and how to handle it going forward. I say start with prayer. Sway says make sure that you communicate and ask your people, ask your friends, ask your family how you're doing. Either way, it's a way to be able to help positively with someone's mental health. So I encourage you to do it. We're here on the SWAYNEE Queen Show. It's WOLBbaltimore.com. Make sure you call in 410-481-1010 AM. Guys, we thank you for listening and keeping with us. We are going to be with you here every Sunday, 10:30 a.m. On the SWAYNEE Queen Show at 10:10 a.m. WLB Baltimore. Sway, man, thanks for that input, man. I think it was just such great information. Hopefully the listeners can be able to absorb that, man, and apply it.
Yeah, I just hope that everybody looks at someone that's around them and just asks are you okay?
Yeah.
Be a better person by just being positive. Why have hate?
I love it. Man, that's a mic drop right there, folks. This is SWAYNEE Queen Show. Join us next week, 10:30 a.m. We love you. Go Ravens. Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the SWAYNEE Queen Show. Tune in next week for more discussion on Black fathers.
I'm going to go ahead and take that last part out.
It's the SWAYNEE Queen Show.
Yo,
You hate him.
yeah.